This video was brought to you by Verve. Now with that out of the way,
let's talk about Simpsons toys.
if you're a collector of toys, plushes, or, I don't know, pogs, then you've probably heard the term bootleg before. But if you've somehow managed to avoid these types of products, then, well, first of all, consider yourself lucky. But if you want to know, they're basically just pieces of merchandise based on an existing property without permission from the copyright holder. These can either come in the form of extremely accurate counterfeits, such as this Nendroid Sonic figure I got one year for Christmas only to find out years later it wasn't official. Then there's the kind of bootlegs that you could look at and immediately go, yeah, there's no way this is official. And if you've got an even somewhat popular property, then don't be surprised when others waltz in to try and profit off your hard work. It's inevitable. But one of the most surprising things to come out of this is the almost cult following bootlegs of popular franchises have, whether it be Mario, Sonic, or the focus of this video, The Simpsons. Now, as we all know, The Simpsons is the most popular animated show of all time, so of course it was bound to receive an influx of imitators. But when you start to go down the rabbit hole, you'll realise just how much bootleg Simpsons stuff there really is. Probably the most popular kind of misleading merchandise are t-shirts. But not just any old shirt, I'm talking about bootleg Bart t-shirts. Since its initial few seasons had a large focus on him, Bart was usually seen as the main character of the show, and there was a reason for that. Back in the 90s, Bart was seen as some super cool, edgy counterculture kid who didn't listen to the rules because he was too busy shredding on his skateboard and disobeying his parents. And with this caused what is now known as Bart Mania. So of course bootleggers would take a look at this character currently in his prime and slap his face onto as much merch as possible, again with the main focus being on t-shirts. Now at first glance a lot of these don't seem half bad. At first glance. One thing I've noticed is just how many of these subtly spell his name wrong that you really have to be looking out for to notice, and a ton of them are actually crossovers with other franchises like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mickey Mouse. Would this be considered a double bootleg? But then there are the ones that are a little more obvious. Like there's a million of these that are just Bart but black and a gangster. Why is this such a common thing for bootleggers to do? Do they really sell that well? Well, to my knowledge they do, because I owned this Super Mario bootleg shirt as a kid because I thought it looked so cool. As you can see, I had the best tastes back then. But there is an ungodly huge market for these kinds of clothing, to the extent where at one point there were entire websites and social media accounts dedicated to showing as much bootleg Bart items as possible. Now what kind of video would this be if I didn't decide to purchase some of this to showcase? Well, that's why I've gone and bought as much bootleg Simpsons merch as possible. But first, now we all know The Simpsons is one of the greatest animes out there. But what if I wanted to broaden my scope to some other shows? Well, if you download the Verve app now on Xbox, PlayStation, iOS or Android, you can watch all your favourite animes like My Hero Academia Season 2, or even other shows like with Nick Splat, where you can watch a bunch of great classic Nick cartoons. And if you go to verve.co/lsmark, or click the link in the description now, you get a 30-day ad-free trial of Verve Premium. Premium allows you to watch your favourite shows on the go without an internet connection through the iOS and Android app. You get to watch content without any ads, get access to a bunch of exclusive series like Last Man, Harmon Quest, Bravest Warriors, among a ton of other features. Premium also gives you ad-free access to channels such as Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, Nick Splat, Cartoon Hangover. So again, for a limited time, go to verve.co/lsmark to get a 30-day free trial of Verve Premium. Let me know what you end up watching on the app. I'm pretty new to the whole anime scene, so I haven't watched a lot of them, so recommend me some to check out. I appreciate all your support.
So let's get started.
Okay, it was very hard to breathe under that. I wanted to use this Bart Simpson one that I grew up with, but I couldn't find it, so I had to spend more than a little bit on this. Turns out this is official. You could have fooled me. So of course we have to start off with the most popular kind of Simpsons bootlegs. The t-shirts. I saw this whenever I was looking for one, and I was stunned, and I knew I needed to buy it. You ready? Bart Simpson. I'm a cowman. It's Bart's classic catchphrase, and we see a nice cow pattern Bart. I didn't even notice this under him. It says Borf. This wouldn't be a proper sort of unboxing if we didn't at least try it on, so. Whoa, what do you know? Now I'm wearing it. Something to mention about this, and I think this goes for a lot of non-official shirts. This thing stinks. So if you ever want to smell like bleach, these are the shirts for you. Now, of course, it doesn't just boil down to clothing. We've also got our fair share of bootleg plushes and figures. Something you'll quickly notice after looking at a lot of Simpsons merch is that these characters do not work well in 3D. At all. They look terrifying. So most bootleg merch actually do a good job at looking official because it's almost impossible to look worse than this. This was a huge problem when it came to my endeavour in collecting as much Simpsons bootlegs as possible, and sadly I fell into quite a few of the traps. I saw a lot whenever I was looking for it, full of stuff that I was like, oh my god, that's all bootleg stuff, this is amazing, I'll kill a million birds with one stone because there's so much bootleg shit in here. But whenever I actually got it, turns out, not bootlegs. I mean, to be fair, look at some of this stuff, like, to me it was like, oh well of course, the green shirt Bart, that's gonna be a bootleg. Turns out, no, it's fucking official. I mean, stuff like this, these tiny Bart Simpson figures, yeah sure, they look official. But when you get to stuff like Maggie riding a turtle, you know, the official one clearly looks better, but they're not that different. There's not much to talk about with plushes, since again, the official ones aren't anything to write home about. The bootleg ones just do a better job at looking more dead inside. I think it's safe to say that plushes are much more focused on being marketable to kids, so of course they'd want to make them look as accurate as possible, to fool clueless parents into buying one for their kids. You've got shit like... This is the first plush and the only plush I bought, because, honestly, Simpsons plushes, I have a bar one, like an official bar one that I had whenever I was a kid, and if you were to put this one next to it, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. They'll look identical. They always have their dead-eyed stare, their gaping mouths. It's just, don't ask me why I'm so fixated on lifting up his shirt. The only thing wrong with this one is that whoever stitched him decided they would put his trousers a little too far down. Figures is where it really gets interesting. It took me making this video to realize how huge a market there is out there for bootleg Simpsons figures. Whether it be this abomination, strange but oddly cool crossovers, or my personal favourite, the incredible Kirk Van Houten.
Luann, get out of here. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
A real human thought of this. Something I can appreciate about these kinds of figures is that whoever's making them is clearly less focused on trying to trick you into buying what you think is an official product, and is more interested in selling you weird, bizarre concepts you know would never officially happen. Because, well, look at this. Probably the biggest company doing this at the minute is Kalaka Toys, who have a website where they sell various creative and fun bootleg Bart figures, along with some other neat stuff. They've got a ton of really amazing figures like Charles Dude, Bartsky, Crime, but in my opinion none of these even hold a candle to the epicness that is. But I actually went out of my way and bought one of their products that I thought looked objectively the best. I gotta say, so far I'm not disappointed. It's Unhappy Meal. It was not cheap. This is undoubtedly the most expensive a 3-inch figure I've ever bought, but I gotta say, it was worth it. Look at him, and that's not even like a little PVC or plastic thing. Who the fuck is screaming? Look, that is not cheap material wire. So yeah, honestly, even though this was really expensive, I gotta say, I think it was worth it. It's crazy the amount of effort they put into this stuff, although it's clearly reflected in the price. And this amount of detail and affection they put into their craft has even gotten them the approval of the creator of The Simpsons, Matt Groening. Speaking of which, something interesting to mention is how Matt Groening is seemingly completely fine and actually encourages bootleg products featuring his characters. My guess is he probably doesn't make a single dime off merch seals, so it's no hair off his back.
Your Honor, I do not have a problem in general with bootleg Simpsons merchandise. As the creator of The Simpsons, this makes my eyes hurt.
What's the problem?
It's completely off-model.
Off-model from what?
He has supposed to have 9 spikes of hair on his head.
And with that, our little Simpsons escapade comes to an end. It's been a lot of fun for me to explore the hidden world of people who are this passionate about creating unofficial merch, but really it's a great representation for how much of a cultural phenomenon The Simpsons really was, and evidently still is to this day. And I'll be sure to keep an eye on how this community grows in the future. And with that, I believe there's only one true way to end this. Brian, God, right leg on dog, Brian, dead. This would probably be funnier if I bothered taking him out of the box.